Jimmy Olsen issue 4, Matt Fraction writing with Steve Lieber on the art. So you're on your own for this one because that Jin's isn't here.
And you stopped on these, but so in this one, this is the first time that I really feel like this book isn't tied into what's actually going on in Superman in action in Lois. Because the way that Fraction writes, it feels like such, I don't want to say satire, it's not the right word, but maybe a parody of superhero comics. And I want to feel like that's on purpose, but I'm not too sure. But here, Jimmy Olsen has died, but Timmy Olsen is now like this vlogger, and he shows up basically to talk with people, and kind of embarrass them. And it's not a good look, but it keeps getting more ratings. So like he'll go up to the mayor of Gotham City and ask him if Gotham is Latin for God's toilet. And then when he gets the reaction that he wants, it comes across, you got all snapped. Right? And then like he's with Dr. Fate and he asked him, he goes, check it, what if we put bees in this dude's hat? And so he's like, my helmet, who are you? How did you? And then all of a sudden there's bees in Fate's helmet and you got all snapped. And like he brings a bunch of jokers to the Cookie Pagoda to see how many it's going to take before Batman notices. And so it cuts to him, and he looks like it's him and Lois, and Jimmy looks like he hasn't slept. There's dark circles under his eyes, and she tells him like, "This isn't you, Jimmy. Like you're a Pulitzer Prize-winning photographer." He's like, "Yeah, but this gets clicks. That's what the Daily Planet wanted." So it shows a bunch more of these mean-spirited things, and she's, not happy with it. And they basically say that because he wants Lois's help in piecing the story together. And the weird thing here is Lois goes to smoke, which I didn't think she was, an actual smoker, but I don't know if this is for the joke, because he slaps the lighter out of her hand. And he goes, "You're gonna burn down my crazy board." And she goes, "It's not a crazy board, Jimmy. It's a sociogram. The right words matter." So then again, it plays into what we've seen in Rucka's, right? With her not being able to spell but knowing how to write and all of this stuff, and it all points to Lex. But the problem with this is that because the family history with his great whatever, and there's a whole page that beautifully shows all that. How this all plays out with the Luthors is Lois is like, no, you started with Lex Luthor and you worked your way back to fit a narrative. So this is actually just a crazy board, which leaves him nowhere near where he needed it. And then it goes back to show how, what had happened with him getting kicked out of Metropolis, and his lawyer is basically telling him, don't say anything. It's his lawyer and landlord, of course. That was the joke that was set up. And he goes, no, I can, the guy that died, I was with Superman that night. And that was that issue where we saw him talking with Superman and Superman kept leaving to go do stuff. He's like, let me just contact him. Let me activate my signal watch. So they do, but Superman's busy fighting some bad guys in DC and can't show up. So he gets taken to jail. But then you find out that the guy that put him in jail looks like he's working for Lex. And he's a dirty detective. And that guy ends up getting killed by, it looks like an agent of Lex. I'm not sure who this lady is. But she's all cloak and dagger, wearing a dark trench coat, blonde hair, and whatnot. So what does Jimmy do? He decides that he's going to take his chauffeur costume and go be Lex's helicopter pilot. Where then he reveals all of this to Lex and tells him, that I know you've done all this to me to ruin me because of our family histories that run together. But Lex is like, no, I've never stooped to killing my enemies, Olsen. If they're dead, they'll never see it when it looks like when I beat them. So it's basically Lex going like, yeah, someone is out to get you, but it's not me. Which then leads Jimmy to be like, all right, I know how to fly a helicopter. I don't know how to land a helicopter, so this is where I get out. So he jumps out of the helicopter with a parachute on and leaves Lex to have to pilot it himself. But yeah, so now Jimmy's laying low in Gotham, and you see a bunch more of his Timmy Olsen vlogs where he's done stuff like steal the Batmobile's wheel, like in the old Jingle Bells Batman Smells.
Robin flew away.
Right? And so it shows Vicky Vale reporting, and then it also has him. It has him in front of a billboard that's "Does Jason live or die?" Right? And Jimmy responds, "Or if you call the other number citizens of Metropolis, well, guess what?" So it's playing off of all this stuff, but when it cuts back to him and Lois after he tells the story of what happened with Lex, he has the Batmobile wheel in his apartment, and so Lois is, tells him, "You've declared war on Lex Luthor and Batman, the two most dangerous men on Earth. Sure hope you're not planning on escalating things soon." And then it cuts out, and the last page is what looks like the bat signal, but with the Superman S. So we've ruled out Lex Luthor. However, it also looks like one of Lex's, I think it's Tess Macher, is the one that's behind
Miss Tessmacher!
A lot of this. Yeah, so another funny moment in this is it goes back to Lois smoking, in that she goes to have a vape, and Jimmy smacks it out of her hand and goes, "No, Lois, vaping's for teens." Which that's the hardest laugh I got out of this. So again, it's starting to feel like it's its own continuity, which is fine. But when we know now this Superman Heroes thing is coming out, how is this going to play in to all of that? Because this isn't Apex Lex, right? Like, that's the same Lex that's going on. This is the one problem with continuity that'll give people that don't enjoy continuity, is you get wrapped up in all of these little things, and you start pulling that thread and it unravels your sweater. However, I want to see how it all fits together. So, but the art's pretty good. Lieber, it's still on point. There's this real fun sequence where he goes through his family history, and it looks like it's on the crazy board, but it's like news clippings of everything, and you follow him as he goes. Like, it looks like he's hanging on the thread, and as you follow Jimmy, you follow the way that the bubbles go, and it tells the story up to this point. So that was pretty good. And then just Lieber and Fraction have great timing when it comes to expressions and whatnot, which just really makes or breaks this book. But I overall enjoyed it. I just want to see how, this doesn't feel like the same Lois. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. It doesn't feel like the same Lex that we've seen. So I'm curious to see how this all plays out.
You gonna read it?
Yep. So I'm gonna give this one an 8.
Cool.